Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Musi again. Today we're starting week 1. Happy to see you all here. Hopefully you're all here. And I want you to be sure to concentrate this week on the scientific method. And there's a piece, the ACE studies. I want you to see how research is done. You'll see by the study that it's very complicated. You'll look at the sample and look at the conclusions, look at how they did the research, and we'll talk quite a bit about the ACE study because it's about the effect of childhood trauma on adult physical illness, in which they're more and more they're finding out there's a very serious link. I also want you to look at the evolutionary psychology piece. There are many types of psychologists, as you'll see when you read chapter 1. I myself am a clinical psychologist, which is basically deals with mental illness. There's social psychologists that look at how people act in social situations and in group settings. They would study, for example, the riot of January 6th, the insurrection to take over, to overthrow the democratic government. So they're probably doing a lot of research on that right this very moment as we speak. There's experimental psychologists who do very complex experiments like the ACE studies. There's physiological psychologists. So I want you to take a look at all the different types of psychologists that there are. If I had to do over again, I might become an evolutionary psychologist because I like that field. It wasn't really that popular when I went to graduate school in the 60s. But it really is the study of what comes from our primitive past, what comes from when we were hunters and gatherers a couple 100,000 years ago, and how our mating behaviors, our tribal behaviors. I mean, you just look at an example like how tribal we are, as if we're still hunters and gatherers. At one time there was many different species of humans. Homosapien, man the wise, we're supposed to be, even though we're not very wise, seems to have conquered Neanderthal man, probably through a slightly bigger brain, the ability to stand up straighter, the use of their hands, though there is evidence that we still have some of Neanderthal man's genes in us. And you'll see that. I always think of that when I look at people at the Eagles games and they're screaming and yelling, and I think, oh, there's Neanderthal man, the remnants of him. Anyway, but anyway, so you want to look at, I like evolutionary psychology. It talks about mating behaviors, why people are attracted to different why women are attracted to men, why certain men are attracted to certain women. And take a look at that. It's kind of interesting because as the brain grew over the millenniums, so did behavior change. And I'm not even so sure how far we've come from that. I mean, as I said before, look at tribal situation. You look at Northern Ireland where, the infighting that went on for so many years between the Protestants and the Catholics. You would look at Lebanon, that destroyed themselves as a society from the infighting of different groups. You look at Afghanistan, really was, I think our military didn't understand how tribal the country was. And probably, I suspect, maybe civil war will break out at sometime in the future in Afghanistan, the different tribal elements. So maybe we haven't come that far as we think from primitive man. If you look at our Philadelphia neighborhoods, they're most tribal. My housekeeper lives in a community that's all Guatemalan. Certain parts of the city are Vietnamese. And there's a lot of rivalries between different groups in our society. Westerners, versus Easterners, and I mean the Trump people versus, I guess, everybody that's not them. But anyway, so I want you to take a look at that PowerPoint. It's one of my favorites. And take a look at the different kinds of psychologists there are, and you'll see how complex the field is. So many people working in so many areas to study human behavior, to find out who we are, what we're about, why we do the things we do. You know, why does somebody climb Mount Everest and maybe end up staying up there forever because an avalanche tumbles down? What makes people do things like that are that dangerous? Why do other people, you know, I just finished a book called American Dirt, a wonderful novel, in which would people go through to emigrate, to cross boundaries, to cross deserts, to cross, you know, oceans, to try to get to the United States or some other safe place from some horrible place that they come from. It's an excellent novel if you like to read novels. It's called American Dirt. So that's what we're interested in. Why does people go birding and other people study butterflies? And, you know, people are fascinating. I mean, which is why I became a psychologist, because I just watch people all the time and they fascinate me. And I want to know what they're about, how they got to be that way. My grandmother had 15 kids. Who decides? I think I have 14 and I need another one. What made her have 15 kids? And lived in a 3-bedroom house in South Philly. And each baby that came along got a different drawer and a bureau. You know, I had one kid. I'm too gentle, and that was enough for me. So I'm interested in these people. People are fascinating. And I hope by the time you finish this course, you will feel that way about it too. And maybe some of you will even decide to be psychologists, which would be wonderful. So enjoy the course, and I'm happy to be here for you.